Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
You're watching.
We're watching. You're watching Fanboy.
Fanboy. Fanboy.
Fanboy.
Fanboy.
A fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
Dot, I assume Tom.
Metal has never gone away, neither has an industrial. These two genres keep kicking ass internationally, and I am thrilled to have with me today the lead singer of Zeistencroix, Orlando Draven. How are you today?
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Thanks a lot.
Listen, man, I heard one of the new tracks on the album. It has a very Sisters of Mercy feel to it, so I was kind of thrilled about that.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
You know?
Yeah, you're talking about Ice Queen, right?
I'm talking about Ice Queen. Yeah, as soon as I hit play, and I was like, oh, this has got that Sisters of Mercy vibe going.
Yeah, it's a little bit, I would say romantic, a little bit dark, of course, but it's something really different to what we're usually doing in the band. So that's kind of like the reason why we try to, go with it and release it as a single.
Well, I dig it so far, man. The album's already available, just came out this past Friday. I can hear, like, it's the way everyone's described the sound of the band. It's like alternative meets rock meets grunge meets jazz, but I hear like a little bit of Latin jazz in there. I hear a little bit of like Indian influence as well, like kind of a little bit reminding me of Bloodywood and their metal stuff. So like you guys went really international with your sound, yet still made it very American and very metal.
Yeah, well, the main idea is just to clarify, what we released yesterday was just a single. The album is going to be released on August the 26th.
Thank you for the correction.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And thank you for helping us promote it. And the genre, we try not to get boxed in a genre, because the main idea for us is just to try to experiment with music, try to experiment with as much as we can. The influence that we have, the stuff that we hear, the stuff that we even pick up in the air, because it's not exactly what we might or might not listen every time or every day. But I mean, at some point, it gets just imprinted on the subconscious. So you get it incorporated into the music and the stuff that you write. So it's an amalgam of a lot of stuff, incorporated, like I said, into one thing. And that kind of like makes the genre difficult just to peg, because it's not industrial, it's not rock, it's not Latin jazz, it's not jazz, it's nothing else, it's just music. That's how we like to see it.
I've realized that in the United States is different. Like, Sepultura will have some, they're hardcore heavy metal, old school metalheads, but you can still hear some Afro-Brazilian in there. And then go to Europe and you'll hear Powerwolf and then Nightwish, and there's classical music influence in there along with the Latin mass, and it's more acceptable in South America and Europe to have blends within the genre of metal than it seems to be in America. Like, America has to be straightforward, one style, that's it. Why do you think that was for so long? And are you glad to see that changing?
I mean, it's just cultural, because I think that in the end, every single continent and every single country like goes with what they have. I mean, even though that you can say that America hasn't incorporated that, but you can actually hear it when you hear country music, incorporated into rock or even hip hop nowadays, and you hear a lot of the folk elements brought into the rock scene and all that. So technically, it's a little bit foreign for Americans just to hear like the folk from Europe, because it's completely different and they're not used to, because like I said, it's a cultural shock. Or the Afro-Brazilian or the Afro-Latin roots that you have in Latin America, or even the Afrobeats that you have from Africa. So it's kind of like everyone goes with what they have in their own niche, so to speak, or in their own country, in their own element. So for Americans and from Europeans and Latin Americans, just to get used to all different cultures and all different genres and styles, because remember, for them it's local. For Americans, country is really local, but if you bring country to Europe, it's completely foreign. If you bring country to Latin America, it's something else. They they're not able to grasp or recognize the entire thing. So it's the same here. If you bring European folk here, it's completely foreign. And if you bring like I said, Latin roots, or like salsa merengue, stuff like that, or you bring even Afrobeats here, is different. So it's kind of like a shock for a second until you get used to the rhythm and the vibe of the music. But I mean, eventually, with the globalization and everything that we have going on, everyone just kind of, it's just one now for everyone in every continent now. Everyone's kind of getting used to everything. So it's opening up for everyone just to see what's going on in different parts of the world, and they can actually accept and understand a little bit better in terms of music. So that's how I see it. It's not even that it's an opening just in terms of music. It's just music is a channel just to recognize and to be open about what's going on in the world globally. That's what I would like to say.
I love it, man, because like I said, there's you guys, there's Sepultura, there's Melek Esh out of Israel. They're an Assyrian band. The name of the band translated from Aramaic is King of Fire. So like you guys are doing so much out there. If translate for people what Zeistencroix means, because sometimes it's not that easy to roll off my tongue just yet.
That's great. Actually, that's what I was saying. Is there's no right or no wrong in pronouncing the name, because it's a made up name. Doesn't mean anything but the band's name, right? So the main idea of Zeistencroix was just mix a little bit of several languages, which would be between 3 or 4 languages, and have our own identity and our own thing going on with that. So everybody would interpret it differently, and then it's kind of like the gist of the entire thing.
I dig it, man, because since you have so many genres mixed, to mix the name between multiple languages makes perfect sense.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the main idea.
And what was it like working with Tim Palmer on the new album?
It was awesome as usual. Tim is awesome. He has a way to see music and a way to treat music that it's very unique. And every time that we work with him, it's just a joy, because he always brings something really different and really valuable to the table whenever we give him something, and whenever we're working together. So that's why every time that I have something that I consider that is special, or that it can use like a very unique or like a specific treatment, I give it to him, because I kind of know that he's gonna bring something amazing that I never, thought about it, or we never, kind of like envisioned before. So that's always awesome. Just working with Tim and just to be able to see what he brings to the table is always great.
You guys are here in Southern California. The album is coming out as the world has primarily reopened, although LA seems to want to shut down again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What was the process like of writing the album during and coming out of the closures, and now having it finally mixed and released and ready to go this August?
Well, the thing with the album was we were kind of like, it was due, because the last one was in 19, and then we released the one in 19, and then we were touring in Europe at that time. Then we came back, and immediately after we came back, the pandemic hits, right? And then everything shuts down and everything goes to hell. So 2 years forward, we started to say, well, yeah, we kind of let that go, because there's no way that we can get the time back. I mean, 2 years already passed, just gone. So we wanted to write again. And then also we wanted to have a new label that we're here in the United States, so we can, work closer to home, just to be local, just to be, just in case that something happens, because you never know. It's like you say, LA want to close again. We don't know if we're going to be able to travel again. We don't know what's going to happen in the end. So we wanted to at least have everything more local oriented, more focused here, so we can, maneuver somehow if anything happens, right? So we started writing right away, and we came about with Ice Queen control and the stuff that we have on the album, and then we recorded. I immediately called Alex, and then of course we were signing in the process of signing the contract with Pavement Entertainment. So we signed, and then we had pretty much, I would say, like half of the album already recorded. I know in the process of recording and mixing. So we did that, and then we were ready to release. And then we talked to Pavement just to see what was the best time, and they came with the idea just to release in August. It worked for us because I mean that's technically where, or at the time that we were able to see what's going on or what was going to happen, which we're still in the process of seeing what's going to happen. This is again, like you said, we still don't know if we're going to shut down, if the world's going to follow, what's going to happen in Europe, what's going to happen, I don't know, in the other states. We don't know. We're really still in the air with all that stuff. So we're still trying to figure it out. So we're gonna release, and then we still have a tour pending on November, which is gonna be an opening slot, and we'll see how it's gonna go. But again, it's just we're trying to figure out what's gonna happen, because I mean we're all depending on the state of the world. So we'll see. We shall see.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see you in concert, especially promoting Cruix-Fixion and Ice Queen as your lead single being released. In November, is it going to be primarily a West Coast tour? Or are you guys going international?
No, it's going to be a national tour right here in the United States. So that's the main idea. It's just, like I said, because I mean, still there are some restrictions when you go abroad, and I don't know what's going to be the new restrictions for COVID, related, traveling, documentation and all that. Because I know the UK is kind of tough right now. You have to provide a lot of new documentation and a lot of tests and a lot of, proof. So I still don't know. So we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can't plan more than 2 weeks in advance.
Yes, exactly. Because I mean, you can plan all you want, but in the end, you don't know if it's going to come through.
As things are opening up, the album, excuse me, the single Ice Queen just released. August 26th is when the album is coming out. You guys have had success with your prior work, and we're looking to repeat that success now, especially with Cruix-Fixion. What can we expect from the new album that might be a little bit different from your previous work?
Well, for starters, I mean, everything is the way that I see it. Everything's different because of the state that we're in right now. Now we're adding again Acupan, which is a guitar player. He's been on and off in the band, but I mean he wasn't really that involved in the creative process as he is right now. So he's incorporating a bunch of stuff, arrangements, solos, and the way that I see it is, like I said, it's different. Everything I see it that is gonna take a turn in terms of it's gonna be heavier. It's gonna be probably a little bit less experimental as it was on Gen Z. Because Gen Z was more like experimentation with rhythms, flavors and stuff. Here's more like rock metal oriented. It still has electronic elements. It still has the syncopation, experimentation kind of, but it's not that heavy as it was in the previous album. So I believe that it's different. So I think it's gonna be more straightforward, more into metal, more into rock, more into soloing, like I said, and then it's gonna be more in your face. That's how I see it. And of course, you have tracks like Ice Queen, and you have tracks like Between Your Legs. That it's those are kind of like different. Those are like more, like you said, more melancholic, more dark, more gothic, pop rock kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I like what you're doing in the fact that you're not married to just one genre, and you're open not only to experimentation, but also making albums that are genre specific or closer to one genre more than the other. That allows for your creativity and your flow as an artist. Has there been something that you've written that would have sounded like, oh, this would be fantastic, but this is more of a side project song than it would be for the band?
You know, every time that I've seen interviews, you know, and other artists doing that kind of stuff, they're always come across with the problem that if they write something, they have to put it in a box and they have to put it, oh yeah, this is not gonna be right for a band. But in the end, it's just like, or the way I see it is, if you're writing, if you have a band, if you're part of, you know, of a project of a group of people, you cannot say that whatever you do is not going to fit to the style or the genre of the band, because the genre and the style of the band, at some point, it's a construct. It doesn't exist. It's not really real. The style and the genre of the band is what you do, is what you make. You know, other people just put names and, you know, they call it however they want it, but in the end, the work is coming from the same person or from the same group of persons. So you cannot like separate those. And then I've seen that every time that somebody does that, I'm not gonna be judgmental, but in my eyes, at least, I think it's a mistake, because still your work, still your baby, still your creation, still something that it has value to you, and you don't know if you put it out under this moniker, under this name, it's gonna work out and it's gonna connect with people, because you don't know when you create what's gonna really connect. You're not really writing or creating something to connect. It's just happens. That's just the natural flow, and it has to be natural. So if it happens, happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I mean, it's something that you need to try. You need to put out, and that's why I never, you know, differentiate whatever I do in one genre or another. That's why the band is. You can say it's all over the place, but at least the way that we see it is just like, this is us. This is what's coming from us. This is what's coming. This is what's real. This is what we are. This is what we're presenting, because it's what we felt at the time, at the moment, and this is us. You know, it's not like you're trying to make something just specifically for, just to make somebody happy, or just to make some members of the audience happy, or, you know, to comply with something, because art or even music creation and everything that you do, it shouldn't be just to compliance, just to comply to somebody, or just to satisfy the needs or the taste of anybody specifically. It has to be, you know, it has to live on its own. So that's how I see it. That's why every time that I have a song, and then I think that I really like it enough, it's coming to the band. It's coming to what we're gonna release. It doesn't matter what genre. It doesn't matter how you put it, because in the end, you can always work or rework the songs just to make it fit something or another. Because that's the beauty of music. You don't have to marry to something specifically, or if something comes in as an idea from one genre, cannot, you know, bleed or transform into something else. You can always transform and you know, and you can make it happen. So that's why I don't see that the boundary that everyone sees whenever you're trying to, you know, create, or you're treating music, because music is music. It's a soul. It's just something that you need to express, that you need to bring out. That's how I see it.
When you write a song and it's very personal to you and you release it, it almost feels like it might not be yours anymore once it's out in the world. What is it like for you as an artist when it's that personal and then it hits with the audience?
That's actually great, because it's like you said, it's, you know, the way that humans behave is the same way. You have a kid, right? Just to put it on something that everybody can see. If you have a kid, you have an idea of how you want your kid to be, or how you want him to grow up, or want her to be, or want her to grow up, if you want him to study, or just to become somebody important. But in the end, that doesn't belong to you. You're helping create something beautiful, something unique. But at the very end, it's gonna grow on its own, and it's gonna take a life on its own, and it's never gonna be yours. I mean, it's always gonna be yours because it's part of you, but at the same, it's not gonna belong to you. You're not gonna have the control. You're not gonna have the, you know, the grip on that. It's just, it has to exist. It has to go. It's the same with music. It's the same with art. It's the same with painting, with sculptures. When you already created something, and when you already wrote something and you put it out in the world, it's yours in terms of, yes, you were the one who did it, but it doesn't belong to you in terms of you cannot longer control it. You cannot control the emotions that somebody's gonna feel whenever they encounter that work. You're not gonna control the experience that somebody's gonna have whenever they encounter, that piece of music, that piece of art, that piece of, of art that somebody's gonna establish a connection with, and it's gonna leave on its own. So that's why I see it. You just create it. You're just a channel. I'm one of the believers that goes with the idea that ideas are yours, but they're not really yours. You're picking up the ideas from the ether, and the ideas, not technically, you don't pick the ideas. The idea pick you, and use you as a channel, and then you just do the best that you can as a function, just to function as a channel, just to connect the idea with the real world. Bring the ether and make it, real. And that's how I see it. So whenever you're creating, I'm sorry, and then you're creating something that has, a value. I believe that you're not the one picking that value. You're being picked. You're being just the medium, just to bring that value to life. If that makes any sense.
It absolutely does, man. And and that's all coming from the heart. It's not coming from something that you're just making up as you go along. But what can we expect on August 26th when Cruix-Fixion hits, and we can listen to it whether on Spotify, from your own guys' website? If people actually want an LP, that still love the analog style of listening to music, what are we going to expect on Friday, August 26th?
Well, you can expect again a mixture of a lot of genres and rhythms, and it's gonna be a little bit heavier, and it's gonna be the best work that I consider that we've done so far. So, and above all, what I consider that you're gonna expect is something honest from us, something that really it was the result of the creative process and a very difficult time and a difficult, well, for everyone, but I mean from a tumultuous time that we had to create something, and this is the end result. So I believe it's going to be heavy. I believe it's going to be a little bit political. It's going to be a little bit emotional, and above all, it's going to be more is quite cynical. I'm not going to lie, because it's the way that we're putting this is also very nihilistic, very trying to be the mirror of what's going on, and trying to be, I'm not gonna say the voice of reason, but at least the interpretation that we had of the current events that we've been living on the past 2 years.
I dig it. Orlando Draven, thank you so much for your time. The band is, and I'm still going to try to get it, Zeistencroix. I'm going to get it.
You got it.
I got it. Perfect. Zeistencroix. The album is Cruix-Fixion, available on August 26th. Where can we find you guys on social media if we want to connect for you and check for tour dates?
In every single social media, Facebook, Instagram, of course, Spotify, Apple Music, even TikTok, everything. We have pretty much everything. And then it's going to be easier for you if you write the name in Google, because it's gonna be the only thing that's gonna pop up, which is kind of cool.
Orlando Draven, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having us. Thanks a lot for having the time just to connect with us, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.